If you are looking forward to the Jorge Masvidal vs Leon Edwards fight, then be sure to show this by smashing the like button. Thank you for joining me once again, and welcome back to Keenan KTV. The much anticipated fight between Jorge Gamebred Masvidal and Leon Edwards is now official, and from the get-go I could tell you guys that going into this fight, Leon Edwards is in my opinion the clear favorite to win this match. And I am not saying this because Jorge Masvidal came off of 2 losses against Kamaru Usman. Even before that took place, even when Jorge Masvidal gave Leon Edwards a 3-piece and a soda, even at that time I knew that Leon would beat Masvidal because of the fact that when it comes to Jorge Masvidal's game plan, his fight style, he is very good against fighters who like to come in, who are maybe perhaps over aggressive, who are not perhaps as clean as him in the striking department, in the movement department, in the speed department. And that is when his fight experience, his fight IQ really comes into play and just outshines his opponent. However, when the opponent is fundamentally sound plus long, rangy, and also a very smart fighter, in my opinion, Leon Edwards has a better fight IQ than Jorge Masvidal. Also, we cannot overestimate the fact that Jorge Masvidal really is a blown up lightweight fighter. He's not a fully fledged big welterweight, so automatically, naturally, there is a size difference and a size disadvantage for Jorge Masvidal. And so when the opponent is already an outside fighter, a long range fighter, and naturally going into the fight you are a division smaller technically, you are going to be in a very tough spot throughout the entirety of the fight. This is not a fight where, for example, Jorge Masvidal is facing Darren Till, who is continuously coming at him, throwing big looping shots that he can see coming, dodge him, circle away, come back, reset the fight, and then jump in with a big right hand or left hook and then knock the opponent out. This is not a fight in which you will see Leon Edwards fight in any way, shape, or form similarly to how Darren Till fought Jorge Masvidal. Day and night difference. You will not see an ounce of the aggressive nature that you saw from Darren from Edwards, and that is simply a fact. So what is it that we will see from Leon Edwards? Leon will make sure to use his long reach, extend his guard, and create a very long barrier that, for example, John Jones likes to utilize against the smaller opponents. And from there on, his kicks will come in, maybe the left straight, but the fact that Leon Edwards is also a southpaw fighter and also being a taller fighter who happens to fight long with a long guard, with a long stance, will just multiply that long range even further. So then I have the big question. When it comes to Jorge Masvidal, he is not a fighter who is successful when it comes to coming forward and creating openings and really putting the opponent up against the fence and going really at him. This is not something that he is good at. This is an area that we saw clearly against the second fight with Kamaru Usman, where he really lacked. When he came forward, he was very stationary. Maybe he threw a few leg kicks, but the majority of his game plan really relied on the fact that he can pull away from a shot, coming with a counter, hurt Usman, and win the fight. Aside from that, offensively speaking, he won't have that much success anyway. And then you'd stack up a long defensive fighter that I really have a hard time imagining how Jorge Masvidal can find his way in on Leon Edwards. We have seen against, for example, Darren Till that he did a switch left hook over the shoulder and he knocked him out. He tried that on, for example, Kamaru Usman as well, but Kamaru just didn't really engage in that manner. He just popped back out. He stayed fundamentally sound. He didn't lean back. He didn't open up his guard. He stayed smart. Against Nate Diaz, Jorge Masvidal was successful, but the reality is, who is not successful against Nate Diaz? And so then we have to take a look at the strength of Jorge Masvidal. His strength really comes in with his hand speed and his boxing ability and being able to pop in, pop out, and stay smart. Against fighters who are predominant kickers, who are not as, let's just say, able to throw round, combination, sequenced boxing attacks, like for example Donald Cerrone, Darren Till, we will see that immediately that he has that advantage of being able to be the slicker fighter close up. He is the smaller fighter usually against most of the welterweights that he's facing, so he will have that advantage in the pocket, I believe. Then the question becomes, how long or how much will this fight even take place in the pocket? I don't really see it happening that much. Leon Edwards has rarely fought in the pocket to begin with. Masvidal is already not a fighter who can commit to such a game plan. He is just an in and out fighter for the most part. And then you take a taller fighter, a rangier fighter, who happens to be a southpaw as well, who is defensive. I don't really see something like that happening in the favor of Jorge Masvidal. I think for the most part, Leon Edwards will utilize his reach. He will throw long range body kicks. I believe, however, that Jorge Masvidal will have good amounts of kicks that he can reply with to the body and to the leg. However, when it comes to game-changing punches, I don't believe that this match will be the one where we will see that. And I believe that Jorge Masvidal really can suffer another decision loss. I don't believe that Leon Edwards will go into that fight looking to finish Jorge Masvidal Masvidal. Even if he tried, I don't believe it. Jorge Masvidal is too slick. This is a fight where we have two defensive-minded fighters going at it, and I believe the taller, rangier, more patient, and more effective fighter will come out on top because he will be scoring at a range where the other guy cannot. And I believe that Leon Edwards is a little bit more versatile when he's coming forward as well. So I don't believe that there are the same limitations that are around Jorge Masvidal that we can see around Leon Edwards. So ultimately, it is a matchup where Masvidal will be fighting an uphill battle. He may be quicker with his hands, feet, but I believe that for the most part, these are only flashes in the pan. And I don't believe that for the majority of the fight, this will be something that can be maintained and manipulated towards his success. It is very hard to outpoint a fighter like Leon Edwards. And when it comes to the clinching game, the wrestling game, I mean, Leon Edwards can take him down as well. I mean, we have seen Kamaru Usman pin Jorge Masvidal up against the fence for 5 rounds straight. I am not saying that Leon Edwards is as strong as Kamaru Usman. However, he most certainly is a lot stronger, in my opinion, in the grappling department than Jorge Masvidal. I believe this is a fight where Jorge really has the final shot at being a top 3 welterweight fighter. If this is not a victory in his favor, then I believe that Masvidal is pretty much done competing at the top of the division. Obviously, coming off of 2 defeats, 1 brutal knockout, you already have that idea that that is the case already. However, perhaps if it happens to be that Colby Covington can defeat Usman and then Jorge can fight Covington, then perhaps he's still relevant at the top of the division. However, as long as Leon Edwards is the 2nd best welterweight in the world and Kamaru Usman is the best welterweight, the number 1, then I don't see any room for Jorge Masvidal to really have a meaningful time in that welterweight division. I believe that it is better for him to fight out his contract and then pursue a boxing fight with Jake Paul, as it happens to be the running theme amongst UFC retired / cut welterweights. However, in the end, it is time that will tell the tale between these 2 fighters. But until then, leave in the comment section down below who you think will win come fight night. As always, I have been Keenan from Keenan KTV, signing off. Later.